Yo, what's good, YouTube, man? Welcome back to another reaction video. And in today's video, we got European soccer explained for Americans, chat. If you guys didn't know, if it's your first time here, this channel is to get me ingrained into the culture of soccer and to help me learn more about the game of soccer as well, and also to meet the wonderful people that watch soccer like you guys that click this video. We're gonna watch this European soccer explained for Americans. This video is like almost 20 minutes long. We might do a part 2 to it, part 1 today, part 2 whenever. But like I said, if it's your first time here, make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well, chat. And let's get into this video, man. Let's see what else we can learn. All right, here we go. I hate watching soccer. They have to bring the stretcher out at least 6 times a game. Overheard in a bar in America. I've never heard this, chat. I've really never seen people get injured. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, chat. But I didn't know they bring the stretcher out a lot in games like these, in football games like these. I didn't know.
So I've been wanting to start following soccer for a while now, but as an American, I always found it complicated. Not like how they play. Most 3-year-olds can kind of understand more or less how it works.
Right.
I just mean how everything kind of works in Europe. You know, I would follow the World Cup, and I'd root for the United States if they made it. And then I'd root for Iceland because clearly they've all been practicing that clapping and they're really good at it. I had no frame of reference for this game. Like, are these teams good? You know, is this a big game? Which one of these guys is Pele? You know, I didn't know.
Facts, bro. And I think my previous video, I don't know if it was my last one that I posted yesterday or the day before that, I was asking the same thing, bro. Like, you don't really know what these people's pay is looking like. Now, granted, you guys that watch this a lot, you guys that watch football a lot, you guys may know what the pay is like. But just take for instance, I don't watch baseball a lot, but I know what baseball pay is like, though. You get what I'm saying? Soccer, I have no clue. Like, I'm pretty sure their pay is a lot because soccer just looks expensive. It looks crazy expensive, from the crowd to how the field looks to how the arena looks to the gear. It looks crazy expensive. So I'm pretty sure they get paid, you know, a decent amount. I just don't know what ballpark number it is at all.
And I had all these other questions. You know, why are teams getting kicked out of leagues? Why are they all rolling around on the ground so much? How are guys getting traded to different countries? And why does everybody in the stands have a scarf? So a few months ago, I tried to start figuring it all out, and I started watching some matches. That's the first thing. They aren't soccer games. They are football matches.
Football
And
matches.
I bought FIFA for my Xbox, and lots of people get upset about the clock. It goes up instead of down. Get over
Right.
yourself. It
Right.
doesn't really matter. Americans also get mad because the clock doesn't stop and games pretty much end whenever the ref feels like it.
Right.
And you actually adjusted this pretty quickly.
And that right there is something that I really don't. I understand it, but like I said in my previous video, the refs have a lot of, I guess, say so. You know, in American sports, you kind of want to take the refs out of the game. You know, you want the refs to kind of be away. You want less whistles. You want, you know, you kind of want as fans, people that's watching, you want the referees out of the game. Just let them play, let them do whatever they need to. If it's getting aggressive, obviously you want to, you want to make the right calls for that. But if they're both chippy and they both going at it and both playing hard, just let it go. But in soccer, the referees kind of have a lot of say, I guess. A lot of say. You can end the game whenever they want. They can call fouls whenever they want. They can hold off on a foul call. You guys know what I'm saying? They can hold off on a foul call and call it later on. It's little stuff like that. But it's not weird. I don't think it's weird. It's just something that we have to get used to.
Game's an hour and a half long. You'll have your chances to score, and if you can't score, then it's not the clock's fault. Some people, and when I say people, I'm referring both to discussions I've had with other Americans as well as like myself 6 years ago. So people think soccer is too slow. And when Americans look at a soccer field, something in our minds, we think that it's like playing hockey or playing basketball just on a big grass field.
Right.
And in those sports, guys like go full tilt a lot, like most of the game. So when two players are just standing there passing the ball back and forth, we wonder, like, why aren't they trying to move forward? Just go. And on the other side, we expect the defenders to be attacking the guy with the ball rather than just standing 5 feet back and letting him do what he's doing. The key difference is that football pitches are much larger than basketball courts.
So they're not called soccer fields. They're called football pitches. Football pitches. Okay. Football pitches.
and hockey rinks. And if you tried a full court press for the whole soccer game, you would be exhausted and you would probably lose.
Yeah.
See, the pace of a soccer game is actually much closer to baseball.
Right.
Most of the game is going to consist
And chat,
of
you want to know what's crazy? A lot of I'm not gonna say a lot of Americans, but a lot of Americans say that baseball is too slow. And he just compared baseball, the pace of baseball or the pace of soccer, he compared it to baseball. And a lot of people say baseball is super slow. So that makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. I personally like baseball whenever it's better watching it in person. It's different. It's different watching it in person than on TV or something like that. I do think the pace is a little slower on TV, but in person it's different. It's the same, but it's different. I can't explain it, man.
guys just slowly passing the ball around, real peaceful. And then it's going to be all of a sudden followed by these short bursts of extremely fast action. Basketball players, it's estimated, run an average of 2.5 miles during a game.
Mhm.
Soccer players can run 7, if not 10 miles during one game.
That is
And remember,
crazy.
you only have 3 subs games.
7 miles in a soccer game. 7 miles in a soccer game is crazy, bro. And how many games? That's the thing. I don't even know how many games they play. I don't know if they play back to backs. I don't know if they play on a Monday, then they play again on a Thursday, then again on a Saturday. I don't even know, bro. 7 miles in a game is crazy. It's
Most of these players are playing the
tennis. They
whole
run
game.
3 miles in a game.
One thing Americans will appreciate is
Never
that
knew
other than
that.
halftime, there are no commercials. So it's like the anti-NFL, which is great. It also means that no matter where the ball is, both teams are always potentially about 30 seconds away from scoring, which creates
So no commercials. Chat. Do we like that? Do we like the no commercials? Like halftime. I think he said halftime, no commercials. Let me
where
go
the
back.
ball is. Commercials. So it's like the
Let me go back,
thing
chat.
Americans will appreciate games. So most of these players will be playing the whole game. One thing Americans will appreciate is that other than halftime, there are no commercials. So it's
Oh,
like
other than halftime, there are no commercials. So, chat, do y'all like that? I kind of like the. I don't want to say I kind of like the commercials, but I mean, sometimes a commercial is needed. Is needed. Sometimes you might have to go pick something up. Sometimes you might have to go outside real quick.
where the ball is, both teams are always potentially about 30 seconds away from scoring, which creates this kind of constant tension.
Right.
It also creates a scenario where you can't ever really run to the bathroom or get a drink. Soccer players seem
That's actually so I feel like that should like not increase the pace, but it should it should make people feel like I know even though the pace is slower, but they can literally score out of anywhere. Just like he said, don't go to the bathroom. Um, Basketball is the same way. Like you can't really go to the bathroom, especially if it's a close game. If it's a close game, you can't really go to the bathroom. And a lot of soccer games I see, they be very close, very close.
have a reputation for being lazy in the U.S. because they don't always pop right back up after going to ground and get right back into play. Certainly some players do embellish things and some go over the top, but I don't really think that on the whole it's quite the issue that people make it out to be. So they get made fun of in Europe too. So here's a fun experiment to try the next time you have a few minutes. Go to like a local field and then quickly jog laps around that field for like 10 minutes. And then suddenly sprint down the middle of the field as fast as you can. And when
Crazy.
you're halfway up the field, while you're still sprinting, have one of your friends just shove you over onto the ground. And if you can pop right back up and keep sprinting, then you can keep complaining about those guys.
It's crazy, chat. And I said in my last video, he said run around here. Did he say, I don't know how many times he said, well, run around here. They come down here, have them shove you down. I was thinking in my last video chat, the defenders that's back here on defense. I forgot what formation it is, but sometimes they have to run all the way down here, chat. And I asked the watchers in the comments. I was like, how long is this run? They're expected to run from here all the way down, and guess what? They have to run all the way back before and get in their position before stuff happens or whatever. And I was like, bro, that is a long run. I literally just said that in my last video, bro. That's crazy.
A lot of the time, they're just taking a little rest. And everyone will either just keep playing around them, or both teams will be a little tired, so who cares? It's not a Matthew Riley novel out there. The other reason for guys slowly passing the ball around is that one of the strategies currently employed by most teams is to maintain possession as much as possible.
Which makes
Obviously,
sense.
this is no different in American football.
That makes
where
sense.
Russia is really good at hockey. The other team can't score when you have the ball.
Right.
So teams will just pass the ball back and forth and even pass it back to their own goalie.
And it helps that the clock doesn't stop as well. That helps too. That helps that the clock doesn't stop too. So
Because it's better to go backwards with the ball than to maybe make a risky pass and let the other team have the ball.
right.
On occasion, you'll see a team make like 50 passes without the other team touching the ball, which can take a really long time, but then they'll go down and they'll score, and that's like as good as it gets. It's all about waiting for the precise moment for things to align and then all going together at the right moment.
Gotcha.
In terms of like positioning and formations, you'll usually have 3 or 4 numbers, like 4-4-2 or 4-3-3 or 4-2-3.
And Chad, I said this in my last video. The three numbers are okay. I can kind of get the 3 numbers. The 4 numbers is where it gets a little bit, it gets a little bit shaky for me, because especially when I have the dots on the field like this, it looks a little bit distracting. Now, whenever they show their official positions on the field, I can understand it better. I can see everything better. But, these dots are kind of, and I said it's kind of harder on the eye. You know what I'm saying? You're looking for 4 people, then all of a sudden you're looking for 2, and then all of a sudden you're looking for 3, then there's 1. And especially on this big field, on the court it's different. On the court it's kind of smaller and condensed. You know what I mean? On this big field, you're looking for, I don't know how to explain it. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying or what I'm trying to say.
You want. These numbers will always add up to 10, and then the goalie is just assumed. Different positions include the center backs, who just stay as defenders, and then the full backs are both the left and the right back, who will defend, but then they'll also usually join the attack as well.
Right.
And then we have midfielders, like a center midfielder, who can go both ways.
And I think midfielders
Center
are one of the most important positions. Goalie, goalkeeper, midfielder, and striker. I think those are like the 3 most important positions. I'm gonna explain why. Midfielder, I think their job, and when I watched the formations video, their job was to stop, from getting down here. Their job is to stop from getting down here, and I think their job is to back it up. You know what I mean? Striker's job is literally to score goals. I ain't gonna say literally. I ain't gonna say that's his only job, but I mean, I think it is. Just to score goals. Who else I said? Wait, center. Oh, goalie. And the goalie is obviously, if they can't get nothing past you, then y'all win. If they can't get nothing past you, and then y'all go down and at least score 1, then y'all win.
attacking midfielder or a center defending midfielder. And then up front, we have like a left wing and a right wing, sometimes a center forward, and a striker up front it's his job to just score goals. One thing I'll mention that makes it easy to kind of get into soccer is that you can legally watch some old matches on YouTube. This is unlike American sports. Like, why isn't there a website that I can go to watch any game, like an iTunes for sports? So, like, I can pay $2 to watch any game in history. Like, all these games are on tape somewhere. They exist. But I can't watch a game in the 1986 World Series unless an international pandemic shuts down the world and there's no sports.
So, chat, what game do y'all think I should watch? What game do y'all think I should watch, chat? What game? We can watch the full games. What games you think is a good game? Is a good game to watch?
I just happened to put it on NBC or something. Like, come on. So anyway, so keeping the ball and attacking is referred to as positive football. You're always trying to move forward.
Okay.
This is what most teams do. This is what people like to watch a little more. It's kind of exciting. It's more exciting to watch that way. But of course, there's always a yin to the yang. So the yin is this guy named Jose Mourinho. And he basically says, I don't want the ball. I'm going to stand back with my players in front of my goal, and you're not going to score. And then every once in a while, when you're falling asleep and all your players are up in my zone, we're going to steal the ball and we're going to run down and score.
I like
this.
this.
A little bit risky.
I like this. It's definitely a little risky, definitely, but I like this. Like I said, this is just a defensive first team. I think it's nothing. It's nothing different than you doing a coin toss and You want to get the other team the ball first because you trust your defense. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing. So they probably had a good defensive squad, or he was like one of the best, I guess, defensive coaches. I don't know.
Except that it actually does work if you do it well. Jose's considered one of the best managers there is, and he has the trophies to back it up. He's won plenty of big tournaments with teams that I'm told if you tried to have that team keep the ball the whole time, like most coaches would, they would have been destroyed. They were too old, and they just would have got worn
It's a
out
nice
and
drawing. I can't
wiped
cap.
out. But
Nice
by
drawing.
playing this negative defensive strategy, they were able to win. And despite this, teams that employ this strategy seem to get a bad rap for playing negative as opposed to positive football, because keeping the ball seems to be the in thing right now.
Different
So obviously there's more thought that goes into
different generation,
into it
man.
than
Different
I described
generation.
here.
Different
Diego
generations like
Simeone
different
and
things.
Atletico Madrid has been using this negative strategy for years, and they've been successful with it. On the flip side, the guys who've risen to the top playing possession football are also widely sought after. Two of the most well-known coaches right now are Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola. And I highly recommend watching the series All or Nothing.
Chat, honestly, when they talking about coaches, how it's kind of hard. It's a little hard, chat. How often are these coaches like coaching though? Like, what can they do other than and I'm not saying this as a as an attack. I'm saying this as genuinely trying to learn. But what more can they do other than switch the formations or whatever like that? Is it plays that they run? They literally just said that the dude literally just said some people hold the ball, which I didn't know that. I thought they always just went forward. I thought they held the ball whenever it's nothing that they could do. I didn't think they did it on purpose, but it makes sense though. It makes sense. But what else can these coaches do? Like basketball, you can coach up, you can run plays. Hey, do this play. When the point guard bringing the ball down, you do a hand signal. They know what play that is. Football, you got coaches calling the play every play, and also you got position coaches. So maybe that head coach isn't like really coaching. The head coaches may be doing like formations or doing timekeeping, time management, making sure they have the timeouts. Well, how many timeouts we have? Kind of like the strategy version, and then they have position coaches to where, okay, I'm a wide receiver coach. You need to do this. They're pressing here, so you do this, you do this, you do this. Do they have people like that, or is these coaches just strategy coaches? You know what I mean? Hopefully, I explained that a little right.
Thing about Manchester City on Amazon Prime. It's about Guardiola's team a few years ago, and it's quite clear from interviews with these guys that they're quite thoughtful and well traveled. I couldn't name a single baseball manager who can speak 3 languages. So speaking of Manchester City, they play in England. There are 4 main football countries in Europe. There's England, Spain, Germany, and Italy.
England, Spain, Italy, Germany. Okay, the four major. Okay.
England has the Premier League, Spain has La Liga, Germany has the Bundesliga, and Italy has Serie A.
I haven't heard of any of these names like this, the Serie A. I'm not even going to try to explain it. I've only heard of the Premier League, honestly.
So to take one country, they're all the same, but to take one country, England, the Premier League consists of 20 teams. Every team plays every other team, once at home and once away.
Okay.
And these leagues don't have playoffs. You get 3 points for a win, 1 for a tie. The team with the most points at the end of the season wins. And this can and has come down to the final day of the season.
So no playoffs, though. Team with the most points win. It's 20 teams. So I'm going to assume that the people from... I'm going to just let them explain it.
In the U.S., our leagues pretty much have the same teams every year. So if you suck... And even if you start to lose on purpose, you actually get rewarded with the top draft pick.
Okay, gotcha, chat. So here.
The end of the don't have play.
Here's what I need to know. They said 3 wins, 1 tie. Are these across these leagues, or is it just this Premier League? And they said there's no playoffs. So, okay, the team with the most points win. No playoffs. Chat, do y'all like that? Do y'all like the no playoffs? I feel like playoffs is like a different atmosphere, It's like a different atmosphere. It's like, it's the playoffs. It's literally win or go home. Like, I don't know. It's just a different atmosphere.
every team plays every other team once a tie to the final day of the season before. In the U.S., our leagues pretty much have the same teams every year. So if you suck, and even if you start to lose on purpose, you actually get rewarded with the top draft pick
Right.
the next year. If you finish in last place in one of these leagues, they literally kick you out of the league.
What?
They call
That's
it
crazy. What? They kick you out of the league? Nah.
relegation, because that's a nicer sounding word. Before we keep going, here's a quick aside
What?
on the MLS. Major League Soccer is the top league in the United States. It's different in many ways than the European leagues. There's no relegation, so the teams do stay the same from year
Right.
to year, and there is a salary cap.
Got you.
Talent-wise, I guess globally speaking, it seems to be an okay league, but certainly not on par with any of the European leagues. So under the Premier League, which is at the top, under them is a league called the English Football League Championship. The 3 teams who finish at the bottom of the Premier League are relegated to the Championship for the next season and replaced by 3 teams from the Championship. The bottom 3 teams in the Championship, the top under them is a league called the English Football League Championship.
Okay.
The 3 teams who finish at the bottom of the Premier League are relegated to the Championship for the next season and replaced by 3 teams from the Championship.
The people at the bottom 3, I'm assuming they get kicked out and they're replaced with here's where it gets a little tricky. Let me hear it
Your
again.
league, certainly not on
Let me
par
hear it
with
again,
any
chat.
of the European leagues. So under the Premier League, which is at the top, under them is a league called the English Football League Championship.
Right.
The 3
Oh, I think I get it. I think they're saying the 3 bad teams from the Premier League, they get kicked out. And then the champions from this championship league then gets put in the Premier League. They get I think that's what they're saying, Chad. Let me know.
Under them is a league called the English Football League Championship. The 3 teams who finish at the bottom of the Premier League are relegated to the Championship for the next season and replaced by 3 teams from the Championship.
Gotcha.
The bottom 3 teams in Championship are relegated to League 1. The bottom 3 in League 1 are relegated to League 2, whose losers go to the National League, whose losers are... nobody really cares about them except their moms at this part, but you get the idea. Unless you really get into soccer, you'll never hear about anything below the Premier League again. But just so you're aware of what's happening down there. This system does a few things. First off, just because you're near the bottom of the standings, your games can still be extremely important. They still count because you're not trying to win the league anymore, but now you're trying to literally stay
in instead of getting kicked
the
out.
higher the
Yeah.
league you're in, the higher the check you get from TV contracts. So it's kind of a big deal. It also creates this kind of theoretical meritocracy where you could start a team with a bunch of guys anywhere in the country, get into a kind of a tiny league, and then ultimately work your way up to the Premier League.
That's crazy.
In
That's
reality,
nice.
that'd be like trying to take a single-A baseball team and work your way up to the majors, while the other better teams with bigger pocketbooks are trying to buy all your best players the whole way. But for the teams at the top, just winning the Premier League sounds pretty easy. You're playing maybe 1 game a week. But that's the catch. There's other things going on here. So there's also the Carabao Cup, which is a tournament open to the top 4 leagues
Carabao Cup.
in England. And then there's the FA Cup, which has been going on since like forever, that it's literally open to every like team in England. So over 700 teams entered this one tournament
Jeez.
last year. Like imagine if every major and minor league baseball team had one giant tournament.
How long
So
does that
could any
last?
team win? Yes, they could. Will the small teams upset the bigger teams? At some point, maybe a few will. But is it likely that a non-Premier League team is going to win? No, probably not. So more fun to think about in theory than practically, I guess. The final tournament is the big one. Like, what if we could find the best team in Europe? And I don't mean like each country gets a team. That's the European Championship that happens every 4 years.
Chat, who's the best team in Europe? Let me know who's the best team in Europe right now, at this current moment.
This, I'm talking about the league clubs. So the best teams from all over Europe, from 55 different countries, battle it out each year. This is the UEFA Champions League.
UEFA.
So as a side note on these acronyms here, FIFA is the organization that runs like big international tournaments like the World Cup. They
Right.
help to coordinate things across different regions.
Right.
If you're an American, you probably heard of FIFA because somebody on SportsCenter mentioned somebody that was involved with some kind of corruption investigation or something. Anyway, within FIFA,
I think I know a lot about, or I know more about, not even know more about, I know about FIFA because of the World Cup. And usually the World Cup is kind of, I guess it's kind of big, I guess. But now FIFA is split from World Cup, so yeah.
the world is divided into 6 different regions.
And I know FIFA is big like in Europe and things like that, but I'm saying big in terms of like this whole map, the whole world, you know.
UEFA is Europe. That's where like the best players go. CONCACAF, you may have heard of because that's what the U.S. is in, the Confederation of North, Central American, and Caribbean Association Football, which is short and sweet. And then there's like the rest of the world. And each one of these groups has tournaments.
Hey, AFC, shout out to the AFC, man. AFC, just some NFL lingo.
National teams and their league clubs, like the CONCACAF Champions League and the UEFA Champions League. And these are called like the Champions League, but really it's just a tournament. So the UEFA Champions League is played in conjunction with the UEFA Europa League, which is kind of like the NCAA and NIT basketball tournaments, but with a bit of a twist. They play the qualifying rounds for the Champions League first.
Chat, why? Jeez, just why? Yeah, all these teams and these leagues and jeez, why? Now it's gonna take me a minute to get these leagues and these teams learned. I think playing the game is a little bit it's coming to me a little bit faster. Learning the rules of the game, learning the plays of the game and stuff like that. That's coming to me a little bit faster than learning these leagues and these different teams and these different tournaments and these different everything, man.
If you get knocked out of the big boy tournament, but you finish high enough, you can just move down into the Europa League and try to win that. And I won't get into the qualifying, but typically you're going to have teams that you may have heard of as an American, like Manchester City,
Yep.
Liverpool,
Yep.
Manchester United,
Mhm.
Tottenham Hotspur. From Spain, it'd probably be Barcelona,
Mhm.
and Atletico Madrid, and Real Madrid.
Mhm.
Serie A from Italy, we'll have Juventus and Inter and Roma and
Roma.
Atalanta. Germany is pretty much dominated by Borussia Dortmund,
The Munch.
and Bayern Munich.
Munich. Sorry about that, Munich. I know a little bit, because I was deployed to Germany, so I know a little bit about,
And then
And also I know I'm getting off topic, chat, but Europe, I think it's nice to live in Europe, bro, because I'm coming from a basketball background. In Europe that when I was deployed in Germany, we was playing professional games, like professional basketball games. Now it was a professional basketball game, so where it's like they're playing a lot, where I'm playing like Dennis Schroeder or nothing like that, but they are professional leagues. It's kind of like the screen where they were showing like all those bottom leagues and things like that. Versus the Premier League, it was like Premier League, then the league. Y'all know what I'm saying. But anyways, you can play professionally over here in America. You can't, like, after high school, after college, bro. You're gonna have to get on you like a little adult league team, and that you're not getting paid. Like, you just doing that for the love of the game. But in Germany, bro, you was actually playing on professional teams, like professionals. That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
there's other popular teams like Paris Saint-Germain from France, and Lyon from France, and Ajax from the Netherlands. And then you throw in a few Russian teams, and you're ready to party. So back to the Premier League. You remember how your team's playing that kind of standard 38-game schedule. So now, also
So 38 game schedule. And he said before, a couple of minutes ago, he said it was like one game a week, maybe.
time you're competing in the Premier League, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and the Champions League. And there's like a bunch of other small one-off games.
Oh, let me go back.
too.
Let me go
And
back.
Now, Premier League. You remember how your team's playing that kind of standard 38-game schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So now, also at the same time, you're competing in the Premier League, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and the Champions League.
Okay,
And
so
there's like a bunch of other.
these are the four leagues that you're competing with. You're in the Premier League, but you're also competing with these other leagues. Okay, you're playing, trying to win these other leagues, I guess,
Other small.
or not
games
leagues.
happening.
Let me go back. Let me understand. Let me go back, chat.
Now to the Premier League. You remember how your team's playing that kind of standard 38-game schedule. So now, also at the same time, you're competing in the Premier League, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and the Champions League. And
Okay.
There's like a bunch of other small one-off games happening too.
So this is basically like in the NBA. You know, I come from a basketball background. How they incorporated the NBA. Is it the Cup NBA tournament? Bro, what they call that junk? The Cup tournament, something like that. So basically, you're playing for. So NBA, you're playing for the top seeding. You want to get the best seeding. You're also playing for obviously the championship. You're also playing for the little cup thing that they do in the middle of the season. So it's kind of like that. It's okay. It's kind of like that.
Even if you have the best team, you're still probably not going to win all these tournaments just because of the wear and tear.
Right.
If you can win 3 trophies in a year, that's like special. That's called a treble. If you
Treble.
win 4, that's called a quadruple.
Quadruple.
But that's pretty rare. And so the biggest payday is for winning your league, although I, for some reason, find the Champions League is hard to beat for excitement. So even though you can, soccer
Contracts. Here we
teams
go.
tend to trade players less than they do in the U.S. Rather, teams will just buy players from their current club. So a contract is going to include your salary, obviously, but also something called a release clause, which is a fee that would go to the current club for that player. So while any team could negotiate a transfer fee with a player's current club, a release clause takes that current team just out of negotiations altogether. So a baseball player, unhappy with the situation, he could demand a trade, and they might trade him and he'd be happy.
Right.
If they refuse to trade him, then he's kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Whereas a soccer player could just find another team willing to pay that
They
release
just have to-
clause. And once a team agrees to pay the clause, then they can just negotiate directly with that player.
It's sort of like this college. What's this dude? He coached for LSU previously. LSU was a college football team. Chat. American football. But what's his name, man? I forgot. But he had a contract. No, it wasn't. It was Penn State. It was a dude from Penn State. Maybe it was both of them. But a lot of these coaches, like in college, I'm not really sure about the NFL. They have these clauses. I'm not sure if they call release clauses or not. But these coaches be getting fired, right? But the team has to pay these coaches more. It's almost more than they was making for coaching. They get paid more to get fired, and the team has to pay them. So it's kind of like the same thing with the release clause. Like instead of paying the player or the person, you're paying the team to release them, and then okay. But wouldn't that be like double? You paying like double price because you paying the team to release them, and then you also paying to pick up the player, like paying the player's salary. So it's like double.
Obviously, the better player, the higher the fee is going to be, so the current club can go out and find a reasonable replacement.
Yeah.
Another big difference is that while most sports in the U.S. have a trade deadline, and that's followed by a few weeks afterward where players cannot move to another team, soccer's kind of the opposite. So most of the time, you cannot move to another team. There are 2 periods a year called transfer windows that you can move during.
Gotcha.
Usually before and then halfway through the season. And you could sign a new contract for another team whenever, but you can't actually start playing for them until that next transfer window. And the last thing in terms of contracts is that in the U.S., most leagues have a draft, but soccer is pretty much like the Wild West. So teams will sign players, or I should say kids, like into their youth academy very young. Like
No
10,
cap. Yeah,
12
that's
years old.
how Messi. Messi probably not the only one, but I know Messi because I seen it. But Messi, that's how Messi was. He got signed really, really young to Barcelona. Was it Barcelona? Yeah, he got signed really young, really young. So yeah,
And smaller teams who find a really good player could also include something called a sell-on clause when selling a player to a larger team that says, If the team buying that player turns around and sells the player again to an even bigger club, then that original team will get a percentage of that.
Sound like a whole bunch of money.
All right, so
Chat, sound like a whole bunch of money just going around. Whole bunch of money, man. I still don't know how much these players make, and I can look it up, obviously, but um, you just, I don't know. You just don't know. I feel like soccer players get paid bank though, like bank. Like, look at the trophies. Look at the trophies that they get. Like, it's literally a soccer. This is a basketball, but it's literally a soccer. I'm not gonna say the name because I don't know it. It's literally a soccer ball, a gold soccer ball, right? Is it gold? The freaking golden glove. It's a gold glove. The golden cleat or the golden shoe. It's a golden cleat. Like those, the big old cup that people be winning. The cup is huge. It's huge. I think the only thing that America has that kind of competes with it. I don't know if college football still do it, but I remember they had like the glass football. They had the glass football. Other than that, I can't. The Heisman looks nice. I like the Heisman. Other than that,
you're still here at this point. You probably want more. So what's next? There are like an unlimited number of top or best goal compilations on YouTube, which are kind of interesting in the sense that you can actually show, new people to soccer, the potential that the game has.
all right.
Lots of Americans' exposure to soccer is like the Women's World Cup, and obviously we have a great team there, but you never really get to see what different strategies look like. Like, look up Barcelona tiki-taka videos. You won't regret that.
Tiki-taka.
Grown men look like children.
Oh, wait, we're gonna put this in my in my notes. Tiki-taka. Tiki-taki. Okay. Tiki-taki. Barcelona, okay.
The All or Nothing series on Man City is great if you have Amazon Prime. And obviously just watching games is good. FIFA TV has a YouTube channel.
FIFA TV.
It has lots of international matches. Or just look on YouTube for full football matches. If you're smart, you'll find them. UEFA TV has old Champions League matches. I think you might have to register, but it's free. You'll probably want to follow BR's football channel on YouTube. They have a lot of good stuff, including this very funny series called The Champions, which I'd probably wait a little bit until you learn a little more about the top players before watching that. One place I always turn to when trying to learn a new sport is video games.
That's actually a great idea.
FIFA would probably help. The big caveat there
Chat,
is that
would
it
y'all
has
like that?
horrible reviews. That said, if you're just trying to learn the rules, like basic tactics and which players are on which teams and who plays where, I would say it's been pretty helpful for me.
Okay.
Most of the negativity toward the game is for the online, the FIFA Ultimate Team mode, where you end up paying for players for your team. But if you just avoid that and then like stick to playing against the AI, then you should be okay. The only thing I hesitate to do is play as Barcelona because you could control Leo Messi, and like, who am I to tell God what to do? So
it's great.
Avoid that part. The alternative here, it would be a game called Pez, which I've heard good things about.
Chat, I'm gonna be real. The way that people talk about the Messi and Ronaldo, the GOAT conversation is a little bit, it's a little crazy. I think a lot of people choose Messi, and a lot of those people think that it's far, like, I don't think people realize how close Messi and Ronaldo, the argument is. It's so close, especially me not knowing anything about it. And me seeing the videos of Messi, I just see Messi all the time, bro. I don't know why. I see Messi. He's a great player, of course. I see him all the time. Until I created this channel and literally watched one Ronaldo video. Maybe it was two, but let's just say two. I watched two Ronaldo videos. And I was mind blown. Like, I watched Messi's video. Messi is great. Yes, he's good. But I was mind blown watching Ronaldo's highlights and things. I was mind blown, chat. I really was. and he just said, "Who am I to tell I don't play with Barcelona because you can control Messi." This video was 4 years ago as well, so but I don't control Barcelona because you can play with Messi, and who am I to tell God what to do? Okay, but bro, it's really close. That Ronaldo and Messi to me is really close, really close.
Doesn't have licensing for many of the teams, so jerseys will look different and team names will be slightly off, which I guess might be confusing to someone new. And I think FIFA's player faces are a bit more recognizable too. News-wise, there's coverage like everywhere of soccer, although I do enjoy the site onefootball.com, which brings us to the sponsor of today's video, which is, there's no sponsor for today's video. I just make these videos to push the boundaries of PowerPoint and see how mad I can make myself. Anyway, hopefully that helps somewhat. You're now ready to venture off beyond the coasts of the United States and become an even bigger soccer
It helped a little bit.
fan.
I can't lie. It helped a little bit.
If you're leaving the U.S., call it football. They get mad if you call it.
Facts. But I'm kind of confused though because I live in America and I can't say football because everybody's gonna think American football. I can't say it. So it's like I'm kind of fighting a battle of choosing. Like, dang, do I say soccer? Do I say football? Like it's a little battle. But I know for sure whenever I go visit Europe and go to the games and stuff like that, it's football. It's football. All right. I really appreciate y'all for clicking this video, vibing out. We actually did this whole video in one session, so I mean, I guess that's good. But chat, if you guys have any more video compilations, videos that I should react to, let me know in the comments down below. I think I'm going to do a league video next, reacting to the leagues and the best teams of the leagues and things of that nature. So that's probably going to be my next video. But I do appreciate y'all clicking this video, vibing out, and helping me learn more about the game of football. So I can't wait till I actually start trying it and actually getting out on the field and playing it. And it's not called field. Oh, he literally said what it was called. Like I said, I got to get a cheat sheet and put it on my wall so I can have it. But yeah, I'm just yapping right now. But I do appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys next vid. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe button as well.